Hello everyone, it's Noel from Noel's Nook, and we're back with the last Valentine's Day themed art piece for this year. Whenever I walk into a store, I know Valentine's Day is approaching when I see shelves lined with that unmistakable heart-shaped chocolate box. I'm not picky about my chocolates, and I could easily polish off an entire box by myself, which is why I try not to buy them. Anyway, as I've been doing lately, I drew the pencil sketch off camera and got to work laying down the base colors. For this painting, I was especially motivated to not only match colors, but also create something that looked realistic from a distance, so I swatched color combinations on a scrap piece of paper. I had already planned beforehand that I was going to add white highlights with white ink, so I didn't bother worrying too much about keeping areas bright. And since I'm using watercolor pencils, I can easily take a wet brush and scrub some lighter areas back in if I really need to, and eventually I did. My biggest concern during this entire process was the scalloped paper wrappers. I was afraid that I wasn't going to shade or highlight them believably, and I was also unsure of the scalloped edges being seen. But after adding the shading, I surprised myself. It was really starting to look like a chocolate box. Of course, there had to be something I wasn't happy about, and that was the box itself. While it was simple, it feels somewhat unfinished looking back at it. I didn't want to have just a plain background, so I thought of how I could make this look more like a photo. Add some wood grain. This was the first time I attempted something like this, and it's not perfect, but it definitely piqued my interest to practice textures with watercolor pencils. Also, that doily, that was also something I hadn't planned, but there's nothing like a cute paper doily on Valentine's Day. The last thing I needed to do was add those highlights. I really don't get this white ink. Sometimes it wants to be buildable for me and be very opaque and noticeable against my watercolor, and other times, like today, I have to fiddle with it over and over before I can get any payoff. Regardless, I love the effect it added to my piece. Now don't those look good enough to eat? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, as well as other art-related videos, I would totally appreciate if you would subscribe, and remember to draw what you love and love what you draw.